Hey guys, so I'm just going to do a quick overview of the basics of fractions in year 4. So let's start off with knowing what fractions are. It's really important that the kids get that fractions are parts of a whole. So here we've got one whole, two wholes, three wholes, and down below here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 whole numbers like they're used to using. So they should know that fractions are equal parts of a whole. So equal parts because we can't draw a line there and say that that is 1/2 because there are two parts and we're shading in one of them. We can't say that's half because they're not equal. So they must understand that it must be equal parts and that they are parts of a whole number or some sort of a whole. All right, equal parts of wholes. Reading and representing. So the kids need to be able to read a fraction. So when they look at this, they shouldn't say 1/3. They shouldn't be saying 2/4. They should be looking at it and saying 1/3 equal parts, 2/4 equal parts, 2/4, 1/3. And when they represent it, 1/3 should look like, forgive my inaccuracy, this. 2/4 should look like this, and so on. Alright, so that's reading and representing. Let's move on to converting fractions to wholes. So this is where it gets a little bit interesting. So if we're working with, let's say, quarters, the kids need to be able to see that if we go through counting this, we've got 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, and then they can see that 4/4 is equal to 1 whole. And they can see it, that's the important thing. They see that 4/4 is equal to 1 whole. If we keep on going with this way of thinking, then divide that into quarters, and we've got 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, and 8/4. Again, so now we can see that 8/4 is equal to 2. We'll keep going, so we'll divide this one into quarters. Excuse my divisions. We've got 9/4, 10/4, 11/4, and 12/4. So now we can see that that's 3 wholes and 12/4, and that's the same thing. So we want them drawing equivalences here. 12/4 is the same as 3. So the cool thing about what we've just done here by using a diagram is that the kids can see that 3 is equal to 12/4, which is much better than if we were to say, well, 12/4, 12 divided by 4 equals 3. That would be a way of working it out. The correct answer if you wanted to get a tick. But if you want to establish understanding, we need to be building a mental model of what a fraction is and what 12/4 actually means. So that's how we're learning to build the very concept of fractions and what they mean in relation to whole numbers. Let's go on to improper to mixed fractions. So it's very similar to what we've just done here. We'll do it on the number line down here. So if we're working in quarters again, we'll move along. So we can go 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, and then we'll divide this one up into quarters again, and then we jump to here. Here we're at 5/4. Now from looking at the number line, we can also see that it's equal to 1 and 1/4. Sorry, 1 and 1/4, and so on and so forth. So we keep going. 6, 7, 8/4, 9/4, 10/4, 11 quarters. So 11 quarters is equal to 1, 2, and 3 quarters. 2 and 3 quarters. Now, eventually, what the kids will be doing after they've established this, the visual and the understanding, is they'll go on to use their number facts to do it. So they'll know that if you've got 2 and 3 quarters, well, each whole is going to have 4 quarters in it. So 2 equals 8 quarters plus another 3 quarters equals 11 quarters. Or alternatively, they would say, oh, 11 quarters, well, I know that 4 quarters equals 1, therefore 8 quarters equals 2, and I've got another 3 quarters left over to make up to 11. That's where we're going to with converting improper to mixed fractions. But we start, as we did before, with establishing the visual and therefore the understanding. Finally, with the equivalent fractions, so the kids need to be able to see that there are some fractions that are equivalent. So, for example, if we take these two boxes here, they need to be able to see that 1/2 is equivalent to, oh no, is equivalent to 1, 2, 3/6, which to us with our lifetime of experience seems obvious, but to a 9-year-old it is madness, because we've been telling them that numbers are different their whole life, that 1 is not equal to 2, and 2 is not equal to 3, and 6 is not equal to 2, and all of a sudden we're saying, oh, but some numbers are equal if they're fractions. It's this idea of proportionality that makes fractions so difficult. So here they need to see it, really important they see it, that 1/2 is equal to 3/6, and so on and so forth. The 2 quarters is equal to 4/8 and 1/2, and the 3/9 is equal to 1/3, and we do this through repeatedly showing more diagrams, and eventually they'll come up with the rule that if you multiply the top number by the bottom number and the bottom number by the same amount, then you will find any equivalent fraction. But this has no meaning. This is where you build the concept and build the meaning. So that's equivalent fractions. And when it comes to fractions of a whole number, so this will just be building on the number facts and multiplication that we're using. So if we were to say what is 1/3 of 24, then they would go, oh, okay, so 24 broken into 3 equal parts. Let's see, 24, it's my whole, I've got 3 equal parts. What would it be? 3 watts is 24. 3 watts is 24. 3/8 is 24. And that's that. Alright, sorry that was a bit longer tonight, but hopefully I got through everything we need to know in fractions for year 4, pretty much, in 8 minutes and 57 seconds. Thanks.